Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we got an opportunity to interview an alumni from UCW Vancouver. University of Canada West is a university in British Columbia, Canada that provides different courses, and it is also famous for its Executive MBA program. So in this video, we got the chance to interview Rohan Dcosta, who recently graduated from UCW Vancouver, and he shares his insights about the program, what are the challenges you might face if you get enrolled in this program. He also discussed about the scholarship opportunities and what are the prospects you will have once you graduate from this university. So without wasting any time, let's get right into it. So hi Rohan, welcome to the channel and thank you so much for taking out the time to doing this interview.
Thank you so much, Arsh. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, so let us start with a brief introduction about yourself. Can you please let us know, what is your educational background and something about your professional experience?
So actually, my name is Rohan Dcosta, and I'm from India, Mumbai. And my past experience in India was I have done my bachelor's in electronics and telecom, and I have an experience of around 8 years in sales in India. So I used to work with elevator organizations like Otis Elevators. Then I worked with Honeywell. So that is what my technical background and my experience are basically prior coming to Canada.
So you came to Canada as an international student. You did your MBA from University of Canada West, Executive MBA to be specific. So why did you select, this program, and why did you select Canada as a country?
So the major focus when I was in India, I thought that in order to grow and to get to the next level in India, you need to have a certain level of qualification, education, and experience, right? So and when you work with the MNCs, it's like you need to they grind you, and then to get there, you need to have certain level of qualification there. So I thought it was the right time for me to select a MBA course, which will upscale my qualities, and I can get into the next position. So while I was searching for that, I thought Canada was having good opportunities for
Mhm.
international students, and then lots of things like Canada that excited me, like growth opportunities and how they are inviting people to get PR and things like that. So that's why Canada was my major focus. And then after that, I like what I did is before selecting a university, I sat down because I did not want to rush into things. So I sat
Mhm.
down and I decided where I want to go actually, because normally what happens is you just select the country, you start applying randomly, and then you don't know what university you go into, and then it messes up everything. So what I did is I sat down, I selected which cities I need to go. So I selected Toronto and Vancouver. On further researching, I thought because it's my personal opinion, okay, it might differ from person to person,
Mhm.
but I feel that Toronto, the climate is a bit harsh, and Vancouver, it's like kind of pleasant environment. So I thought I'll go with Vancouver. Then I decided what my budget is. So I selected my budget, and as per that I selected courses, because I was very clear with my idea that I wanted to do a 2 years course, not a 1 year course, because I want to do the course which will give me 3 years work permit minimum, so that I can settle down and get my things sorted. So
Mhm.
that was my main idea. So I researched in that manner. I selected colleges or universities that were offering 2 years MBA program, and if that was fitting my budget. And then there were two three universities, like there was UCW, the one, then NYIT, and then there were two three more which I selected and then applied for the universities. And fortunately, I got calls from one or two, but then UCW was like fitting into the right perspective, like the budget and the location and everything. So I thought I'll
Mhm.
go with UCW.
Okay. So when you joined UCW and you moved to Canada, do you remember if the university has certain, policies or certain benefits that they provide to international students to transition into this program or to get settled in Canada?
Right. So UCW has one very good program. It's called peer to peer. So the peer
Mhm.
to peer program is like seniors, like who are in the university. They are students, but then were
Okay.
still in the university. They are in their last semester, or the second last semester, who are like good students, like they have good grades, like continuously. So those students volunteer to the management, and then they're
Okay.
selected as peer leaders. So what their job is, when newcomers are like in your first semester, those guys, like a group of 20 students are given to one peer leader, right? And the peer leader will share their details like a Zoom ID or WhatsApp number if your peer leader is really open to that. And then you can get in touch with them as to how you can ask them anything, like how you can, come here, what is the university, it's like what should we do, in order to excel in our things, how are the professors, any questions that you have, you can ask them, and they are very nice, they're open to any questions. Only thing is that you have to honor their privacy, because you can't keep on texting them. They'll give you a
Mhm.
fixed time, and that's the time when you need to talk to them. But then yes, you just have to message them, and they'll give you a time, and that time you can come and ask those questions. So yeah, that is one very good initiative that I think UCW has taken. Yeah.
Okay, so the peer-to-peer program is very helpful for new students as
Yes.
they get advice and some other helps from
Correct.
their final year students, good
Right.
final year
Absolutely.
students. Okay, so what are the requirements of the executive MBA of the University of Canada West?
So when I joined, it was only for the executive MBAs. Like you need to have some certain level of experience with you, and then you need to have a educational background. But now, as far as I know, they are even enrolling students who have just passed out. But then further, I think you need to have a certain amount of grades. Like I think you need to have a consistent 70% in your education. But then if you have those educational qualification, and you have experience of 3 to 4 years, and then you have a good score in IELTS, like if you have 6.5, 7 would be like the best, you will easily
Mhm.
get through. So if you have a good IELTS score, educational background, and an experience, you can get into ECW.
Okay, so when you were applying at University of Canada West, what were the things you mentioned in your, application letter? Because I think application letter is also very important for
Yes,
your
absolutely.
application. Yeah.
Yes. So the SOP, that is what we call it. So in that is very important, because that is how they select the candidate, whether they want to
Hmm.
know whether the candidate is the right candidate or not. So the SOP which I mentioned was my educational background. I like first thing what I mentioned was what who am I, where I'm coming from, and then what my educational background was, and then what is my experience, because it's like a major thing. If there is a gap in your education, right, there is a chance you might get rejected. So that is, you have to put it very correctly, like what was your experience and why do you want to do it. That is the most important part, because after so many years of gap, like I had an gap of, I think, if I remember correctly, it's 6 years of gap that I had. So why I want to do studies now, right? So that was very important. That is the main purpose that you have to write down, and that gets you in. Yeah, I think that is most important, that the more clearly you write why do you want to do education now, and then why also, if you can also write like why you have selected the university, because there were so many colleges, right? Why
Hmm.
you have selected UCW, that is also important.
Okay, so by gap, I mean to clarify that you are not talking about a gap of employment. You were not
Yes.
working at that time. You were just employed at that time.
Yes, so
Even
gap in
if, yeah,
the
yeah,
gap in studies, not
okay,
in
yeah,
employment. Yeah, so you have to
yeah.
justify that, because it's like you have done education 6 years back, and then you are working for 6 years. Then all of a
Hmm.
sudden, why do you want to do a MBA, right? Because
Hmm.
there's because it's lots of things, like when you work and you study, it's a different mindset, right? So whether you
Definitely.
can cope up with the studies now, because it's a tough course, right? I'll not lie, but it of course there are lots of assignments and lots of works. So
Okay.
yeah, so you need to justify it very clearly so that you get into it.
Since you mentioned that it was a tough course and you had a lot of assignments, let's talk about the workload. So, how was the workload of the overall program? And because international students also focus on doing part-time jobs, since now it is possible for international students to work more than the allotted 20 hours for a certain period of time, what would you say about the workload you had and how well you were able to manage it?
So in UCW there is quite a bit of workload, because for every subject, I think there is a assignment every week. So
Okay.
I used to take 3 subjects every semester. I did not take a break. But then
Mhm.
there were assignments every week. Then you have to do your research papers, and like mid of the semester, and at the end, then you had PPT submissions, there were project lots of things. So there is quite a bit of workload. Plus, I'd like to like inform students who would be watching that uh, in India it's different, because in India what we do is we just learn, we give our exams, and we are done. Here it is completely different. Here assignments, it's like there are exams, but then not like India. There are quizzes, like short exams that get you grades, but then the major focus is on assignments. And it's not assignment that just we know things, we write it down, and it is we copy it from Google and we're done. It's not done. There is a main thing called as plagiarism, which we have no idea. And then APA. So if you mess up in that, and if you have three, during the whole course of 2 years, if you get three plagiarism remarks, there is a chance you might fail the whole course.
Yeah.
So that is one major thing. So you need to look out for plagiarism before you come into the university. You need to research what it is and how you can cope with it. Because if you
Hmm.
come here and if you have no idea what it is, you'll just end up copying. That is what students normally
It
do. This
happens.
is the
Yeah.
major mistake that they do. They just copy it from Google and it's done, and then it's a high plagiarism score, and you are not forgived here. So you will lose points, and then it might hamper your PR status and work permit
Definitely.
and things like that.
So
Yeah.
when you say APA, I just want to clarify, you mean citations and
Citations, yeah.
mentioning your sources from
Correct.
where you can take ideas, but you cannot just copy them.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so when we talk about University of Canada West, are there any on-campus jobs available, or are there any teaching assistant jobs available? Because for international students, if they get an on-campus job, that's like the best scenario. So
Right.
what is your view on that?
uh like there are quite a few jobs on campus, but I will not encourage students, because it's like one or two jobs, right?
Mhm.
Part-time student jobs, there are not much on campus jobs.
Okay.
Also, through my experience, like the time I have spent with UCW, I think I only encountered one TA. So I don't
Mhm.
think they also, TA, and I think she was also not paid. It was like a voluntary thing that she was doing,
Okay.
because she wanted to get into teaching and things like that. So I don't think there are that many on-campus job. So in UCW, but then there are lots of part-time jobs or survival jobs, which we call, which in Vancouver, because there are lots
Mhm.
of jobs, lots and lots of jobs.
Yeah.
So it would not be an issue finding a job for you.
Okay. So my next question would be about scholarships. Are there any form of scholarships available for international students that can help them to, reduce their overall expenses?
Yes. So with UCW, when you enroll, like when you're applying,
Mhm.
if you have a good IELTS score, so that is why I said, if you have an IELTS of 7, if you have a good educational background with good grades, and if you have relevant experience, you get scholarships.
Okay.
But the scholarship is not given to you immediately. So
Mhm.
for that, every subject you need to have a 3 GPA score. So if you fall below that, the scholarship is lost. So even in one subject, if you fall below 3 GPA, you have lost the scholarship. You have to pay a whole amount. So you need to be
Mhm.
very careful that here you come here and you are here for studies. So first complete your studies. Yeah, of course we have to do part-time jobs, but then just don't focus on making money first. Get your
Mhm.
studies sorted out. uh, do your jobs, and then do it like combine it together, and yeah, you can avail the scholarships that you get.
Okay. So moving on from, on-campus jobs and part-time jobs, are there any co-op opportunities available in between semesters or after your studies?
So in the final semester, you have an option to select a co-op, or you can either select a subject like optional subject, like your specialization subject. So for the co-op university, if you have found a co-op job, you have to inform the university 1 month. I sorry, one semester before. So 3 months before, you have to inform the university that I have found my own co-op, and then they will validate everything, and then they will exam that subject. Or the university will give you, like if you selecting for a co-op, this thing university has its own tie-up, and it will give you those some of the companies. You have to select that, and then you have to do the co-op. Yeah, but then it will
Okay.
save you one semester. If you go for a co-op thing, it saves you one semester. Yeah.
Mhm. And what is the overall cost of the program?
The overall cost of the program is around, I think, 40,000. CAD.
$40,000 for two
Yeah,
years.
for 2 years.
Okay.
But then if you have a scholarship, you can save around 10,000,
Oh, so
80,
so,
ten
so
thousand. So yeah,
okay.
it's like it's a huge saving that you get if you are.
Okay.
So you can
And
like
it
I completed it in 30,000. So
okay.
I saved
So
30,000,
you took the
10,000 more.
advantage of the scholarship.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
Do you have any advisors or mentors in the university that can help you pick a career after your graduation, or if you're struggling with any courses, you want to change courses, or you have any other issues with the program? Do you have any advisors that can help you with that?
Yes, so the advisors are always there. So if you go into the office, there are academic advisors. They're always there to help you. If you need to change the course,
Mm-hmm.
because one of my friend did that, you have to change it within 2 weeks. So if you
Mm.
don't change it within 2 weeks, you are stuck with that course. So either you have to pay for that course and do it all over again, or you have to do it within the 2 weeks. But then they inform you during the start of the course only,
Okay.
if you
Yeah.
can do that or not. But then yes, there are academic advisors always there. Also on the portal, even if you're graduated, so there is a advisorial support also. You have graduated, so if you feel tomorrow that I'm not finding the right job, right, so you can get in touch with them. They will always help you. They have listed job sites where you can go related to streams and apply. So yes, there are opportunities, and there are things that I have done.
Mhm. So moving on, let's talk about Vancouver. Vancouver is one of the most populated cities of Canada, and it's very easy to find like-minded people, people of your background, people of your profession, people of the same country. So what did you do when you were finding accommodation in Vancouver?
So when I came, I was lucky actually. My friend was here, so he just helped me, move in. But then, if you ask me, if you're a new student, you will have to do a research. So you can't
Mhm.
just come directly. You have to, like, at least 2 to 3 months prior. You have to keep on go on Facebook Marketplace. You can go on Craigslist and then find a place and then come here. Because what people do is they just find a Airbnb. They come here for 10 days, and then it would be super expensive. Because what happens is Airbnb is one thing, and then if you come directly, the rents are very high. And then
Mhm.
what will happen is, you will have to, in order to save your cost, you'll have to share a room, which I am not comfortable, because I love my privacy. So
Mhm.
I think that if you have time, 3 to 4 months before, you can get a good place, and where you can have your own room, and that would be better. So I'll recommend, before you move to Canada, do your research, and
Mhm.
get everything sorted beforehand. Also,
Okay.
what I'll recommend, there are some scamsters also. So if someone is there on Craigslist, which who is giving you a good deal at very, like, unbelievable price, just don't fall for it, and just don't pay the money. Tell them
Mhm.
that I will book it, I'll come, I'll see. Or if you have any contacts, any friends over here, tell them to go and see the place first, and see the paperwork, and then pay the fees. Just because you are finding something, a good deal which is not real, it's not real. They'll just take your money, and you will be scammed here.
Okay, and what is your view on Vancouver? How expensive it is to live there, and how did you manage your expenses when you were like when you were there as a student?
So Vancouver is, I think, the one of the most costliest cities in the world.
Mm,
It's really expensive. Everything is so expensive here: traveling, rent, food. So what I'll recommend is, when you come here, just first get a job. Like, there's so many jobs there. Because you're coming from, from a certain background, don't think that whether I can do this job or not. Just take a job. Once you have a job in your hand, you get that income coming in, so you don't feel the financial crunch, right? Once you have an income coming in, you can always apply into your field, and then get the job that you actually desire. Also, what I'll recommend is, there are lots of job fairs which I've seen Indian students, they don't attend. I got my first job from the job fair. So,
mm.
which is very helpful for me now. The place where I'm working helped me a lot because of that job. So there are so many job fairs, all, like, 3 to 4 job fairs happening every 15 days. So
Okay.
just always keep on searching Google, where there is a job fair, go there. uh, Carry your resume with you, just hand over the resume, have a they take the interview right there and there. And if they like you, they hire you there and there. It's not like other countries, or maybe in India also, if you go to a job fair, it's like, oh, they just have a fair just to for namesake, right? No, they actually hired you. I was hired on the same day. So I went to
Mm-hmm.
the job fair and I was hired on the same day. So I'll recommend, keep looking out for job fairs. And just take a survival job. For when you land here, just take any survival job. When you land in here, first 2 3 days, just relax, let the jet lag go, and then start exploring. If you go to any place, there are always boards which say that we are hiring. Just walk in and hand over your resume and you'll be hired. So yeah.
That's great. And my last question to you would be, what is one piece of advice you would give to a student or an aspirant who is trying to, get an admission in University of Canada West? What is one piece of advice you think that would help that person, a lot?
The advice that I will give you is, as I told you, don't hurry into things, take it calm, plan everything beforehand before you come to Canada. And then once you are here, what I'll recommend is, because there is a GIC that you give, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
will recommend, don't touch it. Leave it like
Mm-hmm.
that, because that will help you, pay your fees. And just imagine, just think that you don't have that money. It's like, forget about
Mm-hmm.
it. When the whole money is accumulated, it will help you pay your final fees, or that will help you a lot. Because if you come here and if you feel that, oh, you have your GIC there, then the thing is that you might spend more, you start to spend more, and then eventually you will land up in trouble. So what
Mm-hmm.
I will recommend is, don't touch your GIC, just forget if there is any GIC with you. And then if you can manage without it, it's like you have extra money saved, right, end of the day.
Definitely.
So that is one point of advice which I'll give to the new students. Yeah. And just don't rush into things, just wait, take it calmly, and decide everything, plan everything, and then come to Canada.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a great advice. And thank you so much, Rohan, for your time. And I think your tips will be very helpful for people who are trying to apply to UCW. Thanks
Thank you,
again.
Raj.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching this video till the end, guys. And for similar videos like this, stay updated by subscribing to this channel and share these videos to other friends as well. Till the next video, take care. Bye bye.